Well, hello, everyone. Great to see you on behalf of the Alliance Supporting People with Developmental Disabilities. I'm Kellie DeMarco. I'm a media relations specialist in California, also a former news anchor in Sacramento. And I really want to continue to bring the stories of our disabilities community to the forefront. They're facing a lot of challenges you can imagine during this COVID crisis. And so I want to just bring their stories out, not just to our community, but also to lawmakers. And so joining me today is someone who has been in this business for a long time, the executive director for Desert Haven Enterprises, Jenni Moran. She's been there for 30 years. Thanks so much for joining me, Jenni.
Very welcome. I appreciate you taking the time as well, because this population of individuals, we're not hearing anything at all about them or how they're dealing with the situation or how it's affecting their lives. And it's definitely affecting their lives.
I can only imagine just our day-to-day lives have just been totally turned upside down. What kind of changes are you seeing there? And also talk about just the consumers, the people there that you have to care for all day.
Well, the interesting thing is, I was thinking earlier this morning about how difficult this situation is to wrap my own mind around. I mean, this is not something that I've ever prepared for and not something that I ever imagined happening. So just think about the social isolation that we're all experiencing, and we have an understanding of why this is happening, at least a vague understanding of why this is happening. And then I think about my clientele, the individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities who may be really struggling to understand beyond the struggle that we're experiencing. Why is this happening? And why can't I go to program? Why can't I work? Where are my friends? That's frightening. It's
Yeah.
frightening for people.
Not to mention too, I mean, there's a big portion of the disabilities community that need help 24/7 with bathing, with getting ready for their day programs, for going out to work. I mean, they need help all the time. And it's hard to get people in too, I imagine, with the correct protections. It's just the list goes on.
Well, absolutely. And their routine has been completely turned upside down. Ours as well. But again, when it's more challenging to deal with those changes in routine, like for example, with the individuals we serve, it's much more upsetting for them. And you think not only are they being impacted, but their families as well, because many of them, they're all home now, or they're in their board and care situation, or many are alone. They live on their own, which is even more challenging.
I bet. We have been told to pivot, right? That's the word of the year, I think, is to pivot. Easier said than done, especially for an organization like you. And when you get that directive from DDS, the Developmental Services, that was hard to swallow, because that really was kind of a delayed response after we were all sheltering in place, and you were probably not knowing exactly what to do or even how to pivot.
You know, the directive really wasn't clear from the beginning. And I think they were struggling as well, as we all were, just
Mhm.
from a human perspective. How does this impact us and our families and our jobs? And oh goodness, we have to think about the whole, developmental disability community, 400,000 individuals that are being served within the state of California. I mean, that's massive. And at all different levels of functioning, and requiring all different levels and types of services. So, in the initial stages, we were given no notice. And I'm not talking about from DDS, I'm talking about from the state of California. I would happen to be working late at work that evening when the governor came on and said, okay, we're shutting down. And so we're like, wow, what do we do? And called the staff in, and had to shut down the operation. We had assets that had to be protected, because people know that your business is closed, at least the facilities are closed. And that's one point that I need to make, is that while our facilities are closed, our programs are still going. And you talk about having to pivot. That was a very significant challenge to us and to others, because as you know, we've been scrambling for years trying to survive, first of all, in the state of California. I mean, by law, the Lanterman Act, people that have developmental disabilities have a right to be served, have a right to services and supports that will assist them to function just as any other Californian would function in their community, in their homes, in their lives. Financially, the support isn't there. It hasn't been there for years, for decades. It hasn't been there. And so we have pivot has been the name of the game in our community for years and years and years. We have to find ways to twist and turn and continue to survive. So we're here to provide the services and supports that are critical to people with developmental disabilities. So pivot is the name of the game and has been for years, but this has been an interesting pivot.
Sure has, sure has. But you should be really proud of these virtual programs that you've done. You've got a YouTube channel. Tell me about some of those programs, how you're reaching out to people virtually.
Well, it's been interesting. First of all of our staff are continuing to work, most of them from home. Each and every day, every consumer, we serve about 550 individuals here in the Antelope Valley, as well as in the Santa Clarita Valley. We've created a Facebook page that provides important updates to our staff and to our consumers, as well as others who are interested in Desert Haven. From there, we've created two remote classrooms on Facebook, one for just consumers in general and all of our programs to help them be successful in the community, in the workplace, in their homes. And then one for consumers who are in supported employment or seeking jobs one day on their own in supported employment. So they can talk about job seeking skills, job maintenance, anything that's important in the professional world, as well as doing Zoom video conferencing and any other social media platform we can think of to interact with consumers. Every Friday we have a Zoom hangout, and I mean the group is growing. We've been training consumers how to get on Zoom. Someone had to train me first.
Yeah, me too.
But we're anything that we can think of to help the consumers come together and stay connected, because the social connection is huge for all of us, but especially for those whom we serve. And so we're trying to keep them connected, keep them pumped up and excited and motivated, and talking, sharing, and
It's
laughing. We like to do that too.
That's great. And it's just, you know, I love how much you do with so little that you have. And I'm sure you've been doing it over the years. You're like the secret superwoman over there. I love it.
I don't know if I'm the secret superwoman. I'm surrounded by some phenomenal people. And more importantly, the most phenomenal people I know are the people that we serve. It's an honor, a privilege, and a blessing to do what we do. And the state of California needs to know we are continuing to do it. We're here, we're doing what we have to do, we're pivoting each and every day, and we're continuing to provide service to some of the most vulnerable, some of the most incredible people in the state of California, people with developmental disabilities who we are privileged to serve.
So proud of you. Thank you for all you are doing for this wonderful organization and this group of people. And hang in there. I think we're all going to get through this, but it's going to be a rocky road, I think, for a bit.
Absolutely, but we're going to hang in there and we're going to keep pivoting.
Okay, Jenni Moran, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much too, Kelly. Appreciate you as well. Stay safe.
Thanks.